So good morning everyone, my name is Lalit Soni and you are watching Drishti IAS. In this live session, we will be discussing the Indian Express newspaper. Now prelims is almost around the corner because obviously you know that it's already February and we have prelims in the May. So from that regard, it is important that you focus on the newspaper, you focus on the core areas which are given with respect to your syllabus, etc. And you will be seeing that newspaper covers all these things. When we talk about the importance of the newspaper, last year there was one question I can remember that they have asked about two books. Okay, the question was the books like The India Way and Why Bharat Matters was authored by, and four options were given. Now a normal person who has not read newspaper thoroughly, so he will be saying that they have asked about some books which has been released, but that is not the case. In that particular question, you will be seeing that both the books has been discussed in one particular article which was there in the Indian Express newspaper, which I categorically recall because I have discussed that in our live sessions. So I know that that was in the current affairs and that is why they have asked it. Why I am telling you this, because today also there is one book which has been discussed in one article. We will be talking about that, but my point is that you can see there is a pattern. That is why newspaper reading becomes important, and here we try to make it easy for you with this particular program. Okay, so now let's start with the today's discussion. Herein we'll be talking about the important articles like India, NDCs and missing deadline. Herein we'll be talking about the environment related aspect, wherein nationally determined goals or the contributions which are there with respect to the COPs which happens every year. So India this time might not be submitting the revised NDCs. So we'll be seeing that why is that India is not doing so. Okay, coming to the next one, North Pole reaches 20 degrees Celsius above the average temperature. So we'll be seeing why, and that is a cause of concern for us when we talk about the climate change or the global warming. That is important aspect which has been covered over here in this article. Then coming to the next one, National Cooperative University. Now this has been announced, so we'll be talking about that. And in the recent past you must have seen, like last 2-3 years, you must have seen that cooperative sector has been given a prominence, or you can say emphasized by the government. So we'll be talking about this. And fact of the day, as usual, we'll be discussing. And after that, geography through map. Herein we'll be talking about the rivers which are flowing towards east. Okay, when we talk about the peninsular India, we have discussed the rivers which were flowing from east to west last time, and now we will be seeing that from west to east flowing rivers today. Okay, so this is about the outline of today's program, and in the end we have, for your own read, there will be one article and one editorial, and editorial will be based on the discussions which we had, and then explanation of the practice question which was given to you in the previous lecture, and a new question will be there for your practice. Okay, from the next time we will be trying to incorporate the PYQs. Okay, so that PYQ, that PYQ analysis is quite important, and we will be incorporating a section over here. In place of practice question, we will be going for the PYQ discussion. One PYQ every day we will be discussing. Okay, so that makes you familiar with the PYQs. Okay, so that is about it. Now let's start with the first thing, that is fact of the day, Gyan Bharatam mission. Now this mission has been announced in the budget. Okay, this time union budget has announced this particular mission. And when we talk about the Gyan Bharatam mission, this has to do with the manuscripts. Okay, manuscripts are the old ancient handwritten text. Okay, so let's see. It aims at surveying, documenting and conserving the India's vast manuscript heritage. The initiative seeks to conserve 1 crore manuscripts. Now this number is important, and for what this particular mission is, that is important for you. Gyan Bharatam mission for manuscript conservation, and 1 crore manuscripts will be conserved over here, housed in the academic institutions, museums, libraries and the private collections. Now we have one more thing over here, that is National Manuscript Mission. Now this mission will be getting a funding under the National Manuscript Mission. Okay, what is National Manuscript Mission? Here you can see NMM was launched by Ministry of Culture in 2003 under Indira Gandhi National Centre for Arts, that is IGNCA. It aims to preserve and make accessible India's vast manuscript heritage. Okay, so it is also related to the heritage. Now we have a sub element or the sub mission under that, which will be funded by National Manuscript Mission only. Okay, so that is about Gyan Bharatam mission. Now coming to the next one, that is your geography through maps. Herein we'll be discussing some of the important rivers which are basically flowing from, here you can see these are the rivers which are flowing from west towards the east. Last time we have discussed about the rivers which are going into the Arabian Sea. We have seen the rivers like Luni, we have seen Narmada, we have seen Mahi. All these rivers we have seen yesterday. Okay, so here you can see Narmada, Tapi, here there is this Luni river, all these things we have discussed in the last session. Now today we will be talking about the rivers which are going towards this direction. Okay, so we will be talking about the Kaveri, we will be talking about the Pennar, Krishna, Tungabhadra, Bhima, all these rivers we will be discussing. Let's start with the first one, Mahanadi. Okay, Mahanadi river flowing through the Chhattisgarh and Odisha before reaching the Bay of Bengal. Notable project here is Hirakund Dam. Okay, that you should remember. Now here you can see Mahanadi river on the map. Here, this is the Mahanadi river, okay, and this is your Hirakund reservoir. Okay, coming to the next one over here, that is Godavari. It is the largest river in the peninsular India, originates from the Trimbakeshwar plateau that is there in Nasik, Maharashtra, which is important for you, which you should remember. Flows through the Maharashtra and Andhra Pradesh before draining into the Bay of Bengal. Then major tributaries, Penganga, Sabri, Vardha, Indravati. Notable projects are Pochampet Dam is there, then Jayakwadi, then Polavaram. Now Polavaram is most important because UPSC has previously asked about that as well. Okay, so that is about Godavari river. Here in Maharashtra you will be seeing that we are having this Godavari river which is flowing like this and going into the Bay of Bengal. Okay, coming to the next one, that is Krishna, originating from the Mahabaleshwar in the Western Ghats. Okay, then that is there in Maharashtra, flows through the Maharashtra and Andhra Pradesh and then into the Bay of Bengal. Again, this is following the similar course with respect to the Godavari river. Notable projects are Koyna is important, Tungabhadra Dam, that is also important, Srisailam Dam, that is important, Nagarjuna Sagar, that is important for you. All these things like Krishna river becomes important for you. Okay, from the historical point of view also it is important. Okay, coming to the next one, Tungabhadra. Now there are two streams, Tunga and Bhadra river, and then they form the Tungbhadra, one of the main tributaries of the Krishna river. Okay, originates from the Western Ghats. Bhima river originates from the Balaghat range in Maharashtra, tributary of Krishna river. Okay, so you remember that Krishna's tributaries are Tungbhadra, Bhima, Tunga, Bhadra, Bhima. All these are Krishna's tributary. Coming to the next one, that is Kaveri. Kaveri is also important river. You know that river water dispute is also there with respect to Kaveri river. So perennial river originating from the Brahmagiri hills in Karnataka. Now this is important aspect. The origin of the three rivers which we have discussed, Godavari, Krishna and Kaveri, this is important for you, which you should remember and you cannot forget it. So this is Brahmagiri hills in Karnataka, flows through Karnataka, Tamil Nadu before reaching the Bay of Bengal, creates Sivasamudram falls. Okay, so that is also important. They can ask you that this particular falls in, or you can say in which river they are having this particular fall. Notable projects if we talk about, that is Krishna Raja Sagar and the Mettur Dam. Okay, then coming to the Pennar river somewhere over when we are talking about the originates in Karnataka, and then it will be moving like this. Okay, so here you can see this is originating somewhere over here and it is moving like this. Okay, so that is originating in Karnataka, divides the Krishna and Kaveri basins, empties into the Bay of Bengal. Now these are some of the prominent rivers with respect to the direction over here from west to east. Okay, so we have discussed Mahanadi, we have discussed Krishna, we have discussed the Tungbhadra river, we have discussed Pennar, we have discussed Godavari river. Okay, so this is something which you should remember. Otherwise also this particular map which I have attached over here, that is quite important for you. What you can do is that when I send the PDF in the Telegram channel, you can go through this particular map. Okay, now let's move further and see the next aspect. Before that, I would like to tell you that Drishti IAS is offering ISGS foundation course for prelims as well as mains in offline mode at our center, that is Noida sector 15. Courses are starting from 17th February for English medium and 21st February for Hindi medium. Address is given over here. You can directly visit the center or you can call on this number, that is 87501 and get yourself enrolled. Okay, for any kind of information you can call on this particular number. Okay, now let's see the first article. India may not ramp up climate targets for 2035, set to miss the submission deadline. Every 5 years what happens is that every country has to give their voluntary NDCs, that is nationally determined contributions, that we will be targeting this much thing in the environmental aspects. Okay, so they will be targeting the emissions, they will be targeting their carbon stock, all these things they are telling the world. Okay, so that is voluntary nationally determined contributions. Now India has done well on this particular part, but this time India might miss the deadline. The reasons are simple, because when we talk about the international community, there are developed countries and developing countries. Okay, now developed countries have more onus because they have used environment or the resources more from the past. When we talk about the time of the industrialization, okay, or the colonial time, at that point of time they have actually exploited the natural resources of the colonies as well. Okay, so obviously they have contributed more to the emissions, so they should pay more for that. And you can say when we talk about the climate finance, they should talk, pay more, as well as they should transfer the technology as well, okay, because developing countries do not have that kind of technology, or you can say that kind of finance to make sure that they go for the cut in the emissions. Now at our international forums, or you can say when we talk about the conference of parties, okay, so considering that at that point of time they have discussed about the climate financing, and developing countries has asked for some kind of funding, that is 1 trillion around something, but what the developed countries are offering is way less, okay. Now considering that developing countries are having some kind of discontent with them, so that is something because of which this decision has been taken. One more aspect over here is that eye on hosting COP33 in 2028, okay. So India might host the COP33 in 2028, so that you can remember. Now India is likely to miss the 10th February deadline for submitting its 2035 climate action plan under the Paris Agreement. India may not significantly enhance its climate targets due to the dissatisfaction with the climate finance commitment from the developed nations, which I have just told you. Nations must revise their nationally determined contribution, that is NDCs, every 5 years, with the next round covering up to 2035. Now they will be telling about the contributions by this particular time, that is February 10th 2025, but this will be for the year, for the you can say timeline, that is 2030 to 35, okay. So that will be there. Anyways, so this is about the contribution which India has to tell, but the thing is they did not. Reason for the delay: first thing is COP29 disappointment. Recently you know that there was this COP which has happened in Baku, okay, and in that particular COP the developed countries had not provided for the, or you can say they were not very enthusiastic about the climate financing, and considering that the developing countries are not very happy, okay. So COP29 disappointment. The recent climate finance outcome at COP29 was underwhelming, affecting India's motivation to set the ambitious goals, okay. Coming to the next one, focus on COP33. India might host this, so India may announce stronger climate initiative closer to 2028. So that is one of the things, because we are going for the hosting this COP33, so that we can give some data that we have performed better. So there might be a chance that during the 2028 they might be announcing more targets, or the more aspirational targets over there. India may announce stronger climate initiatives closer to 2028 when it plans to bid for the hosting COP33, okay. So COP33 will be hosted in India in 2028. Financial constraints. The economic survey highlights a funding shortfall affecting India's ability to meet the emission reducing targets. So that is also one of the aspect with respect to the capital expenditure on the part of government on the environmental aspect. So that is also one concern which was there. So these are the reason for the delay, okay. Now we can move further. Here you can see climate financing issues, okay. So earlier, as I told you, that there is a issue between developing countries and the developed countries. So developing nations concerned, India and the other countries have been demanding at least 1 trillion in the climate finance, but developed nations committed only 100 billion. Sorry, I might have told you about 1 billion, that is 1 trillion US dollar, okay. So that is there, I'm sorry for that. So that is 1 trillion US dollar which has been asked by the developing countries, but what you can say developed countries are offering is 100 billion, and after that they have went up to 300 billion, but again that is so less with respect to when we are talking about the 1 trillion a year, okay. So that is there. Coming to the next one, India's climate goals for 2030. Last time when we have given the NDCs, so for 2030, India aims to reduce emission intensity by 45% from the 2005 levels and ensure 50% of its electricity come from the non-fossil fuel sources, and India is doing good on this particular front, okay. So that is about the NDCs and what concerns are there with respect to the timeline. Now coming to the next one, why temperatures at the North Pole reaches above the 20 degrees Celsius, okay, above average when we are talking about. So here we are talking about 20 degree Celsius above the average, okay. This time winters has been little bit warmer in the this North Pole or the Arctic region if you talk about. So considering that, there are 2-3 reasons which has been discussed over here. I'll tell you the reason first and then we'll go through the article. See, one thing they are saying is that the albedo. When we talk about the albedo is the capacity to reflect the light, okay. Let's say from sun, insolations are coming or the radiations are coming to earth. Now this is your North Pole, okay. Now ice is there, ice surface is reflective, so because of which what happens is that heat which comes, that goes away, there is a reflection and that goes away, so this is not trapping the heat, okay. So albedo effect is that you are reflecting the insolations which are coming from the sun. Since they are reflecting it back, they are not trapping it, and because of which you can say that warming was initially not there, and that is the one of the thing that which saved, or you can say that made the North Pole as a ice cap. Okay. Now what is happening because of the rise in the temperature, global warming etc., or climate change etc., because of the rise in the temperature, this ice cap is basically melting. When ice cap is melting, that means that the surface or the continental shelf will come out. Okay, the continent will come out, the land will come out. Okay, when now the land comes out, that reflecting surface has gone. Ultimately, whatever insulations are coming, short wave radiations are coming, that has been trapped by the land over there. When it is trapped, that means that it is heating the area, and because of which further melting is happening. Okay, so that is one of the reason you can say by trapping the heat, the temperature is further rising, and that is one of the thing, that is your albedo is declining. One thing. Second thing is, when we talk about the areas like North Pole, convection is less. Convection is something when you, let's say this is the land, insolation is coming. Okay, this area is getting warmer. When this area is getting warmer, the warm air, whatever warm air is there in the contact of this, that warm air start to rise. Okay, so now there is a vertical circulation of air masses. Okay, so when it is rising, so that means that the whole column is getting mixed. Okay, so here particular temperature is not rising over there. Okay, now but when we are talking about the North Pole, convection is there. You can say the convection there is very less. Okay, why? Because when we talk about the, let's say this is your sun, this is earth, this is equator. So here in the tropical regions, what will happen is that there will be direct radiations which will be there, and because of which the convection will be high. Okay, so that is why the vertical column of the air mass is more mixed over here, and heat is not accumulative over one place. Now when we talk about the polar region, you can say slant radiations are going there, so convection is not very high, and because of which these warm air which is there on the North Pole surface, which will not rise above, it will only stay over here. So vertical mixing is not there, and since it is over there, it will be melting the ice. So again the temperature here is rising because of that as well. Second reason is convection. Okay, so first thing was albedo declining, convection less. Third reason is basically here that has been discussed, is that the warm ocean currents which are moving towards the North Pole. Okay, warm winds you can say. When we talk about the earth, you know that this part is the tropics. Tropics are warmer, and from here whatever air are going towards this particular direction, these are warm airs. Okay, like currents, like when we talk about Gulf Stream etc., these are basically warm currents. Okay, when we talk about the Labrador etc., these are cold currents. Now warm currents are moving towards this particular direction, and since the you can say temperature is increasing in this region, so you will be seeing that more and more warm currents are moving towards the North Pole direction. So because of which also temperature there is rising and ice is melting. When ice is melting, it will further enhance the, you can say, positive feedback loop. When we talk about a particular positive, you must have read about the positive feedback and the negative feedback loops in the environment, wherein if there is a rise in temperature and it is affecting one, let's say ice is melting, and then because of the melting ice, there is less albedo, and ultimately that will also give rise to the rise in temperature. So now because of one element, other one is increasing or decreasing, and that further is giving way to the first element over here. So that is basically your positive feedback. Like temperature is increasing, ice is melting. Because of the ice melting, again albedo is declining and temperature is further increasing. So that is a positive feedback loop which is increasing the warming. Okay, so that is there. Now let's come to the article over here. Some of the data which are important, which is there, like here you can say at North Pole, more than 20 degrees Celsius above average temperature has been felt on February 2nd, crossing the threshold to melt the ice. Polar winters, when we talk about, that is from November to February, and this time we have seen that it is some kind warmer than average. Okay, so that is there. Very extreme winter warming event has happened. We are not saying that this is the first time it is happening, but it has happened, and that is significant. Since 1979, Arctic has warmed 4 times faster than the global average. So we can say that when we talk about the warming at Arctic is more than global average. or you can say that Arctic is warming at a faster pace. Okay, so that is there. The region acts as the refrigerator for the rest of the planet, because when we talk about the warming, or you can say solar installations which are coming to Earth, you will be seeing that North Pole is acting as a ice cap, and that is why it is making sure that the temperature remains in a particular you can say range. Okay, but the thing is, if it is started to melt, then it will not act like that. Okay, so here you can say the region acts as the refrigerator for the rest of the planet, keeping the things cool. Severe consequences can take place if the temperature continue to soar at this rate. Rise in the sea level will be there, and disruption of the global weather patterns will be there. Why? Because let's see, this is your Earth, this is your North Pole. Now this is your tropical region. You see that there is a stream, that is Gulf Stream, that is the warmer one. Okay, from here there is a Labrador stream which is there, that is the cold current. Now if there is a change in the coldness or the warmness of this particular thing, like Gulf Stream getting warmer and Labrador current getting colder, so that is getting also warmer because the ice is melting over here, because of which what will happen is that the weather patterns in this particular area will get influenced. Okay, so that is there. Coming to the next one, why did the North Pole experience such high temperatures? So first, the deep low pressure system is being created at the North Pole. What will happen if there is a North Pole, or you can say low pressure at the North Pole? Let's see, this is your North Pole and there is a low pressure system. Okay, now this is your tropics. Okay, here high pressure system is there. Okay, now you know that their temperature is high, currents are warmer over here. Okay, or winds are warmer over here, and now here is a low pressure which is there on the North Pole. Okay, we know that wind has tendency to flow from high pressure area to low pressure area. Okay, so winds from this particular region which is having a high temperature, they will be moving towards the North Pole, bringing the warm currents or the warm winds to the North Pole, ultimately making sure that ice is melting. So that is one thing, because of the low pressure system which has been created at the North Pole region. That is one thing. Okay, coming to the second one, here you can say here, why has the Arctic warmed faster than the global average? Here you can see the global temperature have increased by around 1.3 degrees Celsius from the base level that is were there in 1850s to 1900s baseline. From there you can say 1.3 degrees Celsius has been there, increase has been there, global average is there. When we talk about the Arctic region, so it has been warmed 3.8 times. It is 1.3 degrees Celsius and it is 3.8 times faster than the global average. Okay, so that has been discussed over here, why Arctic is warming faster. Okay, multiple reasons. Albedo effect we have already discussed. Okay, after that the lack of the convection we have already discussed, and then here you can see weak convections which are there we have discussed. So there are three reasons which has been given: low pressure system and the wind system getting changed, one thing which we have discussed. Second is your albedo effect, we have discussed the albedo as well, and then the third one, that is weak convection, we have discussed that. So you can go through this article, otherwise we have discussed all the important things from this article's point of view. Okay, now let's move further to the next article, which is talking about the university at the center, or you can say national university for the cooperatives. Okay, why center plans to establish a national cooperative university? Why it is needed? Because when we talk about the cooperative sector, skills is one of the important thing, and right now when we talk about the skill development or in the cooperative sector, that is fragmented. When we talk about the dairy, when we talk about the agriculture or other credit related facilities, etc., you will be seeing that the different departments are having different, or you can say different aspects, like agriculture or the dairy, they are having different in silo skill development plans are there. Okay, and because of which it is fragmented. Now they are going for a single roof, that is your national cooperative university. So let's see. Union Minister of State for Cooperation, Krishan Pal Gujjar. Okay, so he has basically introduced in Lok Sabha a bill to establish Tribhuvan Sahakari University. Okay, Tribhuvan Sahakari University, a new university as an institution of national importance. This will be first in the established on the campus of the Institute of Rural Management in Anand, which is there in Gujarat. Okay, now coming to the next one, why it is established in the Gujarat? Because cooperative sector is quite strong in Gujarat. Okay, so that is one of the reason. Now coming to the next one, the proposal impart technical and the management related educations, training specific to the cooperative cooperative sectors, promotes research and the development on the cooperatives to attain global standards of excellence. So these are some of the general objectives which are there behind the plan. Ministry of Cooperation was established in 2021. You know that Ministry of Cooperation was established in 2021 and the minister was our Home Minister, that is Mr. Amit Shah. Okay, so that was there. Coming to the next one, Tribhuvan Sahakari University will be first of its kind in India, not an altogether novel concept from in the world. It is not a new concept. There are various countries like you can say Germany, Kenya, Colombia, Spain, they are having the cooperative universities. Okay, then IRMA, that is your Institute of Rural Management in Anand. Okay, so they are talking about the IRMA's legacy over here, that is there in Gujarat, Anand. Course on the rural management and the development studies. There are various courses which are available over here. It was founded by Dr. Varghese Kurian. Okay, that is considered as the father of India's white revolution in 1979 with respect to the milk production. Okay, so that is there, established with the support from the National Dairy Development Board, that is NDDB, the Swiss Agency for the Development and Cooperation, that is SDC, the Government of India and Government of Gujarat. Other than that, Indian Dairy Cooperations. Okay, so these are the institutions which from their support we have built this institution over here, and again it is founded by Dr. Varghese Kurian and he was the father of India's white revolution, which you should remember. Okay, now once the Tribhuvan Sahakari University bill passed in you can say the parliament, then it will be declared as the center of excellence for the rural management. Autonomy and the identity shall be preserved within the institutional framework of the university. Okay, so that is there. Sahakar se Samriddhi, that is the goal of the government. Government is trying to, you can say, put emphasis on the cooperation sector. So that is why you know that we have created a new ministry. We have the you can say the minister is the Home Minister himself over there. So that is giving emphasis on the cooperative sectors. Now why it is needed? Okay, why it is needed? As I told you that earlier whatever efforts we are doing for the skill management or the skill development, that were fragmented. Okay, the university would be a specialized university, first of its kind, to impart and promote cooperative education, training, research and development, strengthen the cooperative movement in the country, to study dairy, fisheries, sugar, banking, rural credit, cooperative finance, cooperative marketing, cooperative accounting, then cooperative laws, cooperative auditing, multi-state cooperation, etc., etc. All these kind of you can say aspects will be covered under this university. Courses will be provided over here. So it is creating a pan-India network of affiliated cooperative education and training institution. So that is there. So cooperative sector, if we talk about, that is playing a significant role in India's economy. 19% of the agriculture credit which has been given through the cooperative sector, then 35% of the fertilizer distribution, 25% of the fertilizer production, 31% of the sugar production, 10% of the production and the procurement of the milk, that is there, and 13% of the wheat procurement, 20% of the paddy procurement and 21% of the fish production. These are having contribution through the cooperative sector. Now that is why it is important that you make sure that if you have an exam wherein the question has been asked on the cooperative sector, you can mention all these areas: agriculture credit, then fertilizer distribution, fertilizer production, milk production, procurement, other than that wheat production, paddy production. When we talk about the fish production, all these things are having cooperative sector which is performing well. Okay, Center believes that the present education and the training infrastructure in the cooperative sector is fragmented and grossly inadequate to meet the demands of the qualified manpower in the cooperative sector, which we have discussed in the first point, that the skill management here is fragmented, and that is why they are coming up with a umbrella university wherein all the courses related to these things will be provided. Okay, so that is about your National Cooperative University, that is Tribhuvan Sahakari University. Okay, coming to the next one here, in economy, the 8,000 candidates joins PM internship scheme in 4 months since its launch. Okay, now this is not important. What is important is what is PM internship scheme, which we have discussed earlier, but I will give you a passing reference that this scheme aims to provide students with the internship opportunities. It seeks to provide internship to 1 crore young people over the next 5 years, and here 4,500 rupees will be given by the government as a stipend, and additional 500 rupees will be given by the companies as their cooperative social responsibility initiative. Okay, so total of 5,000 rupees per month stipend will be given over here. Then coming to the next one time grant of 6,000 will also be provided. Okay, so that is there. Upon enrollment, 6,000 rupees will be provided, and after that monthly 5,000 rupees will be provided. Okay, along with the insurance coverage under the PM Jeevan Jyoti Bima Yojana and PM Suraksha Bima Yojana. So health insurance will also be there. Coming to the next one here, what is the eligibility criteria? So age should be from 21 to 24 years. Okay, education should be at least 10th pass. There are some exclusions which is there. A person from the premier institutions like IIM, IITs will be excluded, and a person having the professional qualifications like CA or you can say MBA or LLB, they will also be, you can say, excluded. I would say MBA, I am doubtful, but when we are talking about the CA and LLB, they will be excluded over here. Okay, coming to the next one. Employment status, if we talk about, must not be a full-time employment. Okay, he should not be there in the full-time employment, because obviously the idea here is to give, you know, a person training or the internship so that they can get the employment. If he is already part of the full-time employment, then he or she does not need this scheme. Income restrictions, family income must not exceed 8 lakh rupees. Families with government employees are also ineligible. So these are some of the exclusions which are there. I hope that is clear. This is about PM internship scheme. Coming to the next one. Now we are talking about some of the things which has happened in the international aspects. So here you can see there is one article which is given, Trump's plan to own Gaza. Now, as I told you, PM Netanyahu has gone to USA to meet Mr. Trump, and it was expected that the second phase of the ceasefire will be discussed over here. And herein, Mr. Trump has, Trump being Trump, he has put their plan in forward, and he has said that they plan to own Gaza. Okay. Now, because of which widespread criticism has been invited by various countries. So we'll be talking about that. We will be going into brief of this, because a big article like this is something from where you should get some of the important inputs, and not the article itself. Okay, coming to the next one, Gaza plans draw a global flag. Saudi says no Israel ties without Palestine. Okay, on this particular question they have talked about this. Okay, why plans faces serious hurdles, we will be talking about that. Okay, so we'll be summarizing these two articles over here. Let's see. Trump's Gaza plan. US plans aim to take over war-torn Gaza and creates a rivalry in the Middle East. Rivalry means that is some kind of criticism has been seen in the Middle East region with respect to this particular plan. What is the plan? Plan was to make sure that they are, owning the Gaza. Okay. Recent past, Mr. Trump has given various such statements when we talk about the owning the Greenland, Gulf of America, or the Gulf of Mexico has been renamed as the Gulf of America. All these things we are talking about. So that is there. Widespread criticism from the Saudi Arabia, Turkey, Russia, China, Germany and Spain. Like when we talk about Saudi Arabia and Turkey, or the you can say countries like Russia, China, they are supporting the two-state solution. So that is why they are saying that they are against this particular plan. Saudi Arabia refuses to normalize ties with Israel without a Palestinian state. Saudi Arabia says that they will not go for normalizing the ties with Israel when they are talking about without a Palestinian state. That means that again two-state solution has been talked about here. Palestinian in Gaza reject the plan. Obviously they do not want to leave their home. Okay, so stating that they will not leave their homeland despite destructions. Then China insists on two-state solution, sees the Palestinian issue as key to the regional stability. Obviously, such plan or such statement might lead it to a regional chaos. Okay. France warned that the plan could destabilize the region further. So these are some of the observations which we have seen towards the plan. Now challenges to implementation. Okay. First, Palestinian opposition, obviously they would not want to leave their homeland. So that is their Palestinians sees Gaza as part of their homeland and reject the resettlement. Coming to the next one. Arab nations stands, they are saying that neighboring Arab countries including Egypt and Jordan refuses to accept the displacement or the displaced Palestinian permanently. Okay, now why they are against it? First, the Palestinian cause. Second, if they are being displaced, Palestinians are being displaced, they will be sent to the nearby countries. Okay, so Egypt and the Jordan, they are already hosting various Palestinians, so that is why they are concerned about their own security as well. Coming to the next one, demographic concerns. Israel opposes the return of Palestinian refugees, fearing they would outnumber the Jewish population. Now again, that is a wrongly placed insecurity, but the thing is that is one of the things that they do not want to give the access to this particular territory to the Palestinians. Okay, so that is there. Coming to the next one, violation of the UN resolutions. The plan disregards the international agreements on the Palestinian self-determination. When we talk about the self-determination, that is also a right which is there. So it is against the Palestinians' right to self-determination. Sovereignty concerns, it legitimized the Israel settlement in the occupied area, reducing the Palestinian control. Now, if they are saying that we are to own Gaza, that means that they are, letting the Palestinian go away from that territory, and they are legitimizing the control of the Israel on this particular area. Okay, so that is also sovereignty related concern is there. Trump's leverage, the US is using the economic pressure, sanctions, and the incentives to push allies and the adversaries to accept the plan. Now, every time when we talk about Mr. Trump, there is one thing which has been attached over here, that is tariffs. Okay, so sanctions and tariffs is something which USA is using as a leverage to force the partners over here. But again, when we talk about the countries like Egypt and the Jordan, they might be having a leverage too, because when we talk about the investment sector, they might have issues if they are going for the, they are under the US sanctions, they might face some economic issues. But again, there are Gulf countries. Gulf countries has in the past also provided money to the countries like Egypt and the Palestine or the Pakistan, that. Okay, so considering that, when we are talking about the Gulf countries, if at all there are some kind of sanctions which has been put by USA's, Gulf countries will also help them. So that is one thing which they will not worry about. So that is the implications or the challenges which are there with respect to this particular article. So if you have time, you can go through this article, but otherwise we have covered the point. Here you can see what are the key takeaway from the proposal. So we have talked about that. Then why won't Egypt and the Jordan accept the Palestinian? As I told you that they have their own insecurity, that they are having the security related concerns if the Palestinians are going over there and they are using their territory as a base against Israel. Israel might attack them. So that is the insecurity which they are having. So it is threatening their security. That is one thing. Otherwise also they will be thriving on their resources or resources of their people. So that is also second thing. Okay, and coming to the next one over here, how will the maximum pressure on Iran play out in the region? That is a different story which you can see over here, because when we talk about Iran also has some kind of stakes in this region. When we talk about the Lebanon, they have Hezbollah. When we talk about Gaza, they have Hamas. Okay, so considering that also, there are some things which has been there. Then we have talked about the Palestinians don't want to leave. Then Arab countries will not accept the Palestinians, and Trump has leverage, so does the West Asia, which we have talked about. Okay, now coming to the next article, that is talking about the after US, Argentina withdraws from the WHO. Now again, when we have discussed about the WHO, we have seen that what are the impact of USA leaving. If USA is leaving, other countries might also think that they can also leave, because that is an obligation that with respect to health, you have to provide voluntary contributions, etc. You have to provide the assured contribution over here. Now, if there is a free will that you can go out, or you can say walk away from this agreement, so that can be there. Okay, it will start a chain reaction. So the effect has been seen over here that Argentina is also leaving. Okay, so here you can say Argentina said that they are having profound differences with the UN agency. The loss of another member country will further fracture the cooperation on the global health. That is their profound differences in the health management, especially during the COVID pandemic. So they are not happy about the way WHO has acted during the time of the COVID. But again, that is not a very good thing, that if one country goes, after that second country goes, what if everyone start to leave? Okay, so what will happen to the fate of the global health? Okay, so that is there. Now Argentina is in the news, so you should know about it. You should know about the areas nearby over here. So this is Argentina in the South American continent, and it is having border with Chile, Bolivia, Paraguay, Brazil and Uruguay. Okay, so know that there are 5 countries: Chile, Bolivia, Paraguay, Brazil and Uruguay, with which Argentina is having borders. Over here you can see it is having you can say proximity with the Atlantic Ocean as well. Okay, now let's move further. This is enough from this particular point of view. Moving further, US plane brings 104 deportees, or the deported Indians, to India. So that is one of the things when we talk about the illegal immigrants they were trying to remove. So that is something which you should not worry much about it. Just it was something you can say it was just a news wherein hundreds of people has come back to India. So that is there. Coming to the next one, France government survives no confidence vote again. So that was there in France. You know that recently there has been this anti-incumbency wave which has been there. Okay, so governments are changing. So one of the no confidence motion has been faced by France. Again, France was in the news, so you should know about the France and the nearby territories. Okay. Now coming to the next one, passing reference to this, what's the book PM brought up to counter Rahul? Now the thing is here, why I have taken this particular article, because in PYQs there was two books, Why Bharat Matters, and then second was the India Way. Now these books are from S. Jaishankar's publication, or you can say Mr. Jaishankar has published these books. Okay, he has wrote these books, and that is why they have asked about this book, and there was this particular article in the newspaper. Okay, now analysis of PYQ is important, because when we are talking about these two books which has been asked earlier, that gives you an idea that they might ask about a book which is in the current affairs. Now PM Modi has mentioned one book over here, that is of JFK's Forgotten Crisis. Okay, JFK's Forgotten Crisis. This is a book which has been written by Mr. Kennedy. Okay, so that is the name of the book, Forgotten Crisis. They might ask you. Okay, so that is why PYQ analysis becomes important, because they are not asking from anywhere, they are asking from the current affairs only. Okay, so that is about this article. You don't have to read the article, just know that there is a book and from the particular writer. Okay, now moving further, for your own read, there is this article from the editorial. Okay, again we have talked about the Donald Trump's proposal, so you can go through this article. We have discussed every aspect, so it will not be very much difficult for you. Okay, now in the end we have this story of Navik, crucial indigenous set nerve system hurdles in the development path. We have talked about Navik earlier, we have talked about IRNSS series, so that is why I'm not going into details of it. If you have time, you can go through this particular article. Okay, now from your discussions point of view, what is the fentanyl? Option B would be a right answer. That is a synthetic opioid 50 times stronger than the heroin. This is the chemical because of which you can say Mexico and China are facing sanctions from USA. Okay, now for your practice today, there is this question, which is, which of the following countries does not share a land border with Argentina, Brazil, Chile, Bolivia, Ecuador? Okay, so you can attempt this question and answer to me in the comment box. With that, I would like to take your leave. I'll see you in the next episode. Till then, have a nice day. Thank you, and please subscribe the channel.